On this episode of Beers in the Shed, we talk about the best mods for any budget. We make sure you will not waste a single cent of your off-road dollar. Now, it's something a lot of people ask and talk about. What should I do? What's the first mod I should do? I've just bought a four-wheel drive, and today we're going to cover it. We've got years and years of experience. I've got about 20 years experience modifying vehicles. Graham's got about 85 years of experience. So together, there's well over 100 years of experience between us. How many vehicles do you reckon you've built in your time as a four-wheel drive? From your very first?
Yeah, if we go back to the very first, not heaps,
the Model T, was it?
It was Model T. Or first
you put a
changed the tyres on. Yeah, I would say I'm up to 7.
7 vehicles?
Yeah, 7 vehicles.
I would have modified at least 7 in my time, if not more as well. What I want to do is actually break it down into 3 segments. Now, we understand that everyone's got different budgets.
100%.
So let's start off with $1,500. Now, that's your budget. Yeah, you've just bought a four-wheel drive, you've got $1,500 to kit it out and head bush. What are you doing?
I'm going to use a GQ as an example because if you've only got $1,500 in the bank, you haven't gone and spent.
And you didn't buy a 300 series.
You haven't gone and bought a 79. No. So I'm going to use a GQ as an example. It's an older GQ. It's looking a bit how you're going. I'm going to spend that first $500 on getting this bad boy reliable. Okay. I'm giving it a full service.
See, people don't want to hear this, Graham.
No,
they're going to be thinking lockers, I want reduction gears. How are you going to spend this $1,500?
No.
So you're going to the very sensible option.
That's the first $500.
Which is going to pay dividends down the track, right?
100%. I'm going to get that bad boy inside looking lickety split. So that's my first $500. I'm not getting much more exciting with my 1,000. Okay. I'm about to open Marketplace.
Yeah.
And there's 2 things I'm going to buy on Marketplace, and I want to try and get the best value I can. The first is I want to get some front protection on that vehicle. Okay. I live in the bush, and kangaroos are everywhere. Okay. If you hit a kangaroo with an old GQ doing top speed of 85, you're going to do some damage.
You'll be able to pick one of those. Let's call it $300-400.
I reckon you can. I'm then going to grab myself an air compressor. The best air compressor I can possibly buy on Marketplace. And then I'm going to have some money left over. I'm going to use that money to put diesel in this GQ, and I'm going to go away. That's my first $1,500, mate.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's simple. It's not. There's nothing sexy there.
Well, not with the GQ at least, anyway, mate. But yeah, but it's very practical. Now, for me, I'm going to go a slightly different direction.
Sure.
So I've got the vehicle. I'm going to assume that it's mechanically okay. Okay. I didn't think about spending money on servicing, but I actually agree with you, and I think you should do that. Okay. But I'm going to pretend mine came serviced because I got a.
And look, that's totally feasible.
Yep.
I've bought an old GQ.
And I bought an old 80 series. Okay. It's in that sort of vintage.
Yep.
The first thing I'm going to do is a dual battery system.
First thing
I'm going to do. Doesn't even have a bull bar in it. I'll tell you why. Because a stock vehicle, believe it or not, can get through about 90% of Australia's tracks.
You're so right.
And
you're so right.
What I want a dual battery for is because my next purchase is a fridge.
Okay.
And I believe with a dual battery, and I'm talking about, when I say dual battery, I'm not talking about the latest and greatest with lithium batteries. I'm talking about an AGM battery is going to cost you $300. I'm going to buy a new one. There's no Marketplace there.
Yeah, don't go getting a second
one. And I'm going to buy a basic, for me, it would be like a red arc isolator battery, just a standard dual battery system, right? Yep. That AGM battery is going to power the fridge, and it's going to have some basic strip lights in there that I'm going to spend $5 on eBay and get some strip lights. Yep. So I've got some camp lights. So total spend so far is about that sort of $500 mark. Yeah. And then the $1,000, I'm going to go and buy a fridge. Wow. Now, obviously,
you've gone radically different.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've got look at me. I've got power out in the bush. I've got a fridge. Yep. I can go camping. I've got camp lights. The $5 camp light.
So true.
Changes your whole world when you're out in the bush. If you don't have light, it's just not a very pleasant experience.
Sitting here in the dark.
Sitting in the dark at a campsite. Just a $5 strip light will change your game.
That's a radical difference to what I did. That's blowing me away. I didn't expect that. And I guess you guys at home will have a really different idea of how you'd spend $1,500. I can't do this, so you can. Give these guys $1,500 each. And in the comments down below, let us know how you've spent your $1,500 on your imaginary vehicle that you've just bought. Righto, mate, let's take it up a notch. Okay. $1,500, you've just proven gets you quite a bit. Mine gets me reliable, but it's a GQ, I needed to do so. Yep. I'm going to throw $5,000 in the mix. Now, you've already done the mods you've done. So I've got a bull bar, I'm good to go, service my vehicle, and I've got an air compressor. You've got some lights and a fridge. Can't even afford beer yet. So I'm going to give you an extra $5,000, mate.
With the extra money, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at tyres. Tyres is one of those things, I think, good quality tyres on your vehicle, it just transforms the vehicle and also gives you a lot of reliability as well. So I'd probably go for like a good set of all-terrains or some mud tyres. Yeah. And look, tyres aren't cheap, we get that, so it's going to burn a fair bit of this money.
It is. So, but Marketplace, you can get some amazing deals on Marketplace.
Look, I probably wouldn't buy second-hand tyres. I'd go new again, like the fridge. I'd buy once because I know that's going to last me. Same with my tyres, I'd buy them brand new. So let's say now I've used probably, let's call it about 3,500 of
Big chunk.
Exactly. And
To save some time,
Yep.
I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to I'm tight. I'm going to Marketplace.
Yeah, okay.
I've picked up my tyres for $2,000.
So when you're on your first camping trip and you do a sidewall and you're up, because you're in Bamaga at this stage, you're now spending $30,000 on one tyre.
I didn't say it was a great idea. I just said...
No, I get it. You're being thrifty.
I'm being thrifty. But I've got some great tyres. They've got minimal wear, $2,000. And I've got a spare, 5 tyres, $2,000.
Okay, so look, I've got about $1,500 left in my budget. Of course, I've got the dual battery system, I've got the fridge, I've got a really basic camp light.
Yep.
Now I've got some brand new tyres on this vehicle. I'm going to look for a bull bar, same sort of vein as you. I'm going to go for a second-hand bar, and that will cost me about $500 to make that pretty.
Yep.
I've got $1,000 left. I'm buying a winch.
Wow.
I'm buying a winch.
Radical.
And there's probably a couple of $100 left. I'll buy a recovery kit.
Yeah, okay. Well, I agree with the recovery kit, 100%. A winch?
A winch.
That doesn't come into my first lot of...
Because, okay, look where I am. I've spent $5,000.
Yep.
I've got cold beers. Oh, I've got no money left for that.
Bought beers yet. You still haven't bought beers yet.
I've got an empty cold fridge, right? But I can keep my waters really cold. But I've got a dual battery system.
Yep.
So my touring side is now complete.
You're pretty covered, yeah.
I've got tyres.
Yep.
I'm going to be quite reliable. I can travel most of Australia.
Yep.
Now I've got a bull bar, not just for frontal protection, but also housing this winch. If I do get stuck by myself, I can recover. I am 100% self-sufficient, can go anywhere in the country.
Okay, so you've gone big picture travelling Australia. I'm still thinking weekend trips in your little GQ.
I can do anything now.
You can. I've got $3,000 to spend now, and I've got some pretty smick-looking tyres on this bad boy.
You too.
All right.
It's got 14 plugs in one of them, but...
That's character. Adds grip to the sidewalls. Up front, because I'm doing these weekend trips, I'm often going to be coming back out of the bush late at night. Up front on that bull bar that I put on, a couple of good spotties. So I'm going to spend... What's a really good set of spotties going to cost me?
$600?
Yeah.
$600
I'm going to
I
spend
reckon
$600.
you'll get a really good set for $600.
Okay, so there's now got some spotties up the front. So next thing I'm going to do is join up with you here, and I've got to put a fridge in.
I was going to say, where's his fridge, mate? Because you can't be stealing beers off me the whole time.
I can, and I've proven it. I have proven over many, many years you can actually be very thrifty in the bush, steal your mate's beers. But no, I'm going to go a dual battery system, and again, this is where we're going to differ ever so slightly. I'm going to go a pretty mid-range, not a budget, a fairly decent sort of a setup.
If I had one regret with my decision, it was because I ran out of money. I had to go very cheap on the dual battery system.
Yep.
I like your idea by spending just a little bit more,
Yeah.
and having a smart charger that
Yes.
you could probably put solar into and stuff like that.
All of that, and the reason I'm doing that is I can value add to it later on. So I'm going to have a backboard, I'm going to be able to put switches in, I'm going to put a shunt in.
Yep.
So I can now, I don't have anything to plug into that, but I've done it. It's there, it's
So
done.
you've spent another, what, $500 on that?
Probably a bit more.
And
I
a
reckon.
fridge would have been another $1,000.
Easily.
Yeah, so
easily.
you've got a bit of an IOU on that as well.
No, because I'm in at 3 because I only put 2 on the tyres.
Oh, true. You got cheaper tyres, didn't you?
And now I'm going to go back to me being the old man that I am. I'm now going to go out and buy myself a couple of beautiful steaks, some lovely boutique beers, and I'm going to go camping with this new setup.
You know what? Do you know what I like about this? We've just spent our budgets considerably different.
Very
but
different.
Guess where we've ended up?
Well, we're still at the same campground.
We've got very similar vehicles at the end of the day.
We actually do.
You've gone the spotlights, I've gone the winch.
Yep. You got to follow me out at night, but if I get stuck, you can come and get me.
It's actually,
And you know what? That's not as dumb as it sounds.
It is actually not a bad idea because that's when you're on a budget as well, especially knowing if your mate's got a winch, maybe you could hold off on that purchase.
Because you're not going to need it.
Exactly right. And
Yep.
I think there's so many people out there going, where are your lockers, boys? Where's all these other things, right?
No.
Because they probably expect us to say that. We
Yeah,
drive some of
true.
the harder tracks out there.
True.
They haven't even entered the equation
Oh,
just yet.
no.
Until we change the budget game.
Before we do that, folks, Shaun's dug deep yet again. His pockets are small and his arms are long. There is now an extra $5,000 in your account. You've got the same car that your imaginary car, GQ, 80 series. We've now got $5,000 in your bank account.
How are you going
Be
to spend
wise.
it? How are you going to spend it?
Let us know, comments down below. So we've now got a $1,500 and a $5,000. Going to be some big comments, like really long ones.
I can't wait. How would you spend $5,000 to get the most bang for buck? I reckon, Jesse Gleason could build 3 cars with that. I guarantee he
And he's done a comp truck.
Yes. Somehow
There's
he
one
bought
for his
the car
missus.
as well. Yeah.
He's got a GQ stashed away for the kid when he gets old enough.
he can make the easiest dollar go a long way, that
He
fella.
really can. How about we step this right up then? $5,000 extra.
Wow, so you've got a $10,000 budget.
$10,000 budget. You've just spent your 5 though.
Yep.
You can't renege on that
No,
because you've got some good ideas from me. I can see.
And you know what? I wouldn't change anything. If I had 10,000, I'd still spend
You
the
would
5,000.
have done a bit better on your electrics, but anyway.
I know. I sort of regret that a tiny bit, but I was at the time.
He was rushed.
I had a tight budget, and a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going for a rear locker. and an air compressor. Not just a little air compressor that runs a locker. I'm going to get a decent air compressor that I can use to do my tyres.
Yep.
At the same time, that's going to run my locker.
Yep.
The next money I'm going to spend is a snorkel. I'm going to put a snorkel onto
100%.
that. And look, I'm not going to go buy a new snorkel. I'm just going to get a second-hand one.
Okay. What are we talking here? 2.5 left.
No, 2.5 left. With that, I'm going to build a set of drawers.
Bold.
Okay, maybe I won't build a set of drawers. I'm going to waste the best part of $600
and 6 months,
and I'm going to have a lot of firewood.
A lot of weight in the rear.
No, I would get a drawer system.
Yeah, some sort of storage system.
Exactly right, and it's going to be basic. It's going to have a fridge slide, and I'm going to have maybe 1 or 2 drawers beside that so I can keep all my gear.
Yep.
And then the end result is a vehicle I can take just about anywhere and camp in absolute comfort.
You've almost described Sooty.
I really have. You really have.
Love the one you're with.
Yeah, exactly right. There you go. That's why you know I'm not lying.
Mate, I'm going to go down a different route here and something you haven't thought about. I've got an old GQ. This bad boy has seen some use. Next thing I'm doing is putting suspension all around it.
Yeah, wow.
Just the drive is going to be so much better in this thing.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm putting new suspension on there too. I'm not going to try and get someone's clapped out suspension there, painted and flogged on Marketplace.
You know what? I'm going to make it.
You can't.
I've got to change. I've got to change. I know it's early. It's early. I think there's like a 5-second rule. I'm going to take my drawers out and I'm going to go suspension.
So
it was a complete oversight. I'm taking the drawers out. I'm going suspension.
I think you're over budget, bro.
No, because the drawers I was going to spend about $2,000 on the drawers.
Oh, were you?
So
big spender.
So here we go. Coils and
beautiful.
And some shocks.
Yeah, all around.
I'm going to do that because
transforms your vehicle.
You're 100% right on that one.
And my tyres might let me down, but my suspension won't. You did say something that I have to do, and that is a snorkel. And I'm not even talking water crossings here. It's to keep the air coming into your engine nice and clean. So a snorkel and even possibly an airbox. If I spent $2 on suspension, what's my snorkel costing me? $500 tops.
If you're going to buy a second-hand one like me and install it yourself, I'd get help if I was you to install it.
To install it? It's just a hole. I've seen them do it.
Yeah, but...
Oh, no, wait. I did mine. I cut the panel out on mine.
That's why it's on the wrong side.
I'm wasting a lot of storage space up top. I'm going to grab myself a roof rack as well.
Okay, clever.
I'm going to grab myself a roof rack. Because up there now I can put a swag, I can put a few boxes, I can do whatever I need, and I've just doubled my storage space in the back. I'm actually going to put a decent set of drawers in the back of this GQ. So, $1,000? Second-hand, Marketplace?
I think you've been out of the game for a while, mate. I think...
You can't get $1,000 in the drawers?
Second-hand you will be able to.
Second-hand. That leaves me with another $1,000. I reckon this GQ's got...
I've got an idea, and it's something I regret not putting in my budget.
Yeah.
And if I had my way again, I would probably try and find a way to make this work, is an awning.
So handy. All right, well, I've got $1,000. I'm getting an awning.
Get an awning. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great investment.
It really is. It really is. And then I'm just going to use whatever's left after that for the small things that make life a little bit more easy out bush. Decent head torch. That's a game changer for me. A really comfy chair. You've got to have that. Barbecue plate.
Comfy chair. A barbecue plate. Just a really cheap barbecue plate.
Or again, let's not go down the cheap route. A barbecue plate you can hand down to your kids if you get the right one.
Yep.
Spend a bit of coin, get a really good barbecue plate.
Yep.
Big old naughty boy.
Yep.
So we've now spent the better part of $10,000 on these budget cars. We've gone different directions.
Yeah.
But in the end, we have turned out one very capable, one extremely good touring example of the genre.
Exactly right. I like the order that we went through. I think that's the most important.
It's taken me a year to do this, by the way.
Of course, if not more.
Yep.
And that's the thing to consider, guys. When you are building a vehicle up, it's not just, you don't just have $10,000 to spend.
No.
This is incremental. And the way that we started, even though it was both different, I think are both clever ways of doing it. I think some people make mistakes and they end up spending money in the wrong areas first up. Like, for instance, I heard this story, and this happens so often. Someone goes and spends their money on suspension. The first thing they want to do is suspension. But unfortunately, they haven't loaded their vehicle
Haven't put any weight on the car yet.
And then once they do put the other things, they've got to redo their suspension again. So they're spending money twice.
What's really important here, guys, is don't think not having prevents. That is English. Don't think not having prevents, because it doesn't. I went around Australia, and I'm going to make myself sound old here, 2000 and 2006?
1788.
Yeah, 1788. Reg Spriggs and I across the Simpson Desert. 2006, in a GQ with no 12-volt. I literally didn't have a 12-volt system in there. Yeah. I had a gas fridge.
Yeah.
It ran off gas. You had to light a little flame down the bottom to keep your fridge cold.
And was your experience any less valid?
Unbelievable. Loved it.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? You still talk about it these days.
Changed my life. It's what got me the job in the industry that I'm in now. So thus, I had nothing and still did it. You don't need in order to do. In the comments down below, folks, you've just been given an extra $5,000. You're up to $10,000 on your build now. Let us know, what are you doing? I reckon there's going to be some radically different answers in there. I'm going to be waiting for Jesse's because second-hand Treps is going to be on the market there.
Mid-mounted winch.
A mid-mounted winch that he actually controls from a paddle inside the cab. Yeah. Speaking of fantastic things, Jocko.
He's got the deal of the month.
He's got the deal of the month, and it's an Easter special too. It's an absolute cracker.
Righto guys, my mates at Oricom have a cracker deal. You can get the new updated UHF 360R with a black 6.5 dBi antenna with free delivery anywhere in Australia for just $299. So not only are you saving $159, but I have never seen one for this price with an antenna and instant replay. Everything you need, the ultimate UHF for your four-wheel drive. We've used it for years. It's got heaps of 5-star reviews on Product Review, but this one, UHF 360R, now has instant replay, which is one of the handiest features you can get on a UHF. Make sure you jump on it quick and don't miss out on this ripper deal. Go to oricom.com.au.
Now, speaking of clever, we've got a very special guest.
We do.
This is actually his, I don't know even if he knows we're in here, but he's joining us today, and I'm stoked to be chatting with him.
If there's a bloke that knows about touring and how to set a vehicle up,
It's this one.
Absolutely. I think I can just about speak for everybody, but we all love a great Aussie story, and especially a great Aussie engineering story. And in the topic of talking about great accessories and all the rest of it, no one comes more knowledgeable than Mike. Now, he's got decades of experience touring this great country of ours, and you've started from very humble beginnings, mate, with Clearview.
We're in our 18th year now, and when we first started, I had an 80 series, and,
Yeah, that's why you're a good bloke. That's why you're a good bloke, Mike. I've always said it.
I was waiting for a reaction here, but
I haven't said anything.
He's no longer a Nissan man. He's 12
No longer a
now.
Nissan man.
That's
All right.
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I had the 80 and I hooked up my caravan and drove out the gate and looked in my mirror and all I could see is caravan.
Right.
I just felt, this is not good enough. So I started looking around and there was nothing on the market. In the end, I just got frustrated and I kept saying to my wife, somebody's got to do something about making some decent tow mirrors because it is dangerous if you can't see. I ended up getting a set of Chev Silverado mirrors out of the States. I spent about a week messing around with them, going out and getting, adapter plates made and drilling and tapping and all the rest of it. I got them on the car and wired them all up and everything worked. And
This is
then
to the 80 series.
on the 80, yeah. And then we set off. We went down Lake's entrance. We pulled up and it was like Elvis rocked into the building. Now, when I had a look at me and I looked
driving an 80, Mike, let's be honest.
and I looked at Elvis, I thought, no, we're nothing alike. It can't be me.
Come on.
Anyway, everybody was all over the mirrors.
Right.
Where'd you get them? I had a guy that came up to me and he said, I've got a 100 series LandCruiser. Can you make a set for my car for me? And this guy had a beautiful car and a beautiful caravan. And he said, I can't see what's around me.
Yeah.
He said, it scares me every time I want to change lanes.
Yeah.
He said, I can't see anything. He said, I'm not interested in the cost. He said, I just want the product.
Yeah.
So I realised there and then that people were happy to pay the price for something that worked.
If it's okay with you, Mike, I wouldn't mind asking a couple of quick fire questions. I'm sure everyone's going to be very interested to hear from you, mate. The first question I've got in mind is, what's the biggest lesson you've learned when you first started Clearview?
Details. It's the small details that add up that give you a good product. If you miss all the little bits and pieces along the way, it just doesn't work. And you've got to be consistent with your product all the time.
My Clearview accessories, they are built for adventure. And you are still out there doing it.
Yeah.
Favourite place you've been to recently?
Recently, Honeymoon Bay, Columbaroo, Western Australia.
Western
Sorry,
Australia.
Shaun.
That's the part. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
What is he paying you for this?
on another note, I love it up the Cape as well.
Yep.
And,
Who doesn't?
And I haven't been up there for a few years, but I want to get back up there. I love Fraser.
Yes.
There's just something about it. I relax when I go to Fraser. Really, really enjoy it.
Yep.
There's so many nice places around the country, and some people live in a little apartment and they've got a little electric car that they've got, and they've got no idea
that this exists.
What's out there, and you can't do it in one of those.
No, exactly right, mate.
We can sum that question up by saying Western Australia is Mike's favourite location.
Then you remembered Fraser Island. Obviously, that just.
Oh, yeah, you had to add something in there to keep the West Coast.
Edges in front.
Throw that in, mate.
You had to throw it in to keep the East Coast happy, yeah. Anyway.
Here's one for you, mate. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given? That's a tough one to answer.
Be nice to my mother.
There you go.
There you go.
Well said. Well said.
That's beautiful.
You make a lot of really clever products, right? What is one product that you make that you reckon you couldn't live without?
You realise I'm extremely biased, don't you?
That's why I asked.
Well,
But you've got to narrow it to one. This is going to be the tricky bit.
our mirrors, without a question. The mirrors, number one, keep you safe.
Yep.
They allow you to see what's around you when you're travelling through the bush. I feel very blessed that I've been able to do this because my father, God bless his soul, I love him to bits. He had an old Nissan Patrol.
Good man.
He would travel up the road and he didn't care who was behind him.
Right.
And he couldn't see, so it really didn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah, and it used to worry me that when you've got a van on, you can feel the wind off the trucks, pulling the van around, right? You don't want to end up in the triaxle of the trailer.
No.
It's not on.
Mike, one last thing I want to know. Clearview is always innovating. There's always something new. I think that's primarily because you can't turn off up here. What have you got coming out, mate? Is there anything secret you can share with us?
Not secret stuff, like sort of super secret. You know, if I tell you, I have to shoot you. But we're working on some other stuff in the background, and it's been on the whiteboard for a while now, and there's some good stuff coming.
I know, and he's got that smile on his face too. You know there's some good quality stuff coming out, so I can't wait to hear all about it, mate. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat to us.
You're
It's
welcome.
always great to hear
Absolute
from you,
honour.
mate.
Absolute honour. Yep.
As you know, mate, Marta always have some of the best prizes going around in their lotteries,
Really
and
do.
they don't get much better than this one right here. If you had $220,000 plus a brand new Prado, what would you do with it? Well, it could actually be you making that decision because Marta Cars for Cancer are giving you the chance to win this amazing prize package, which includes the brand new Toyota LandCruiser Prado Kakadu, this Essential Caravans Cruiser, as well as $220,000 of cashable gold bullion, all for 30 bucks. And once you get inside these Prados, it's not hard to see why they're so popular. There's plenty of room for the entire family. You could really get comfortable behind this wheel and rack up some serious miles. Not to mention, it's gonna have no issues towing that van. This total prize package is worth over $430,000, but the best part, of course, is every single ticket sold is helping to fund vital cancer researchers just like Jodie Saunders, who's working towards finding a cure for breast cancer at Marta. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you head to carsforcancer.com.au and get your tickets before May 13, unless of course they sell out beforehand. Good luck.
220 grand, gold bullion.
Yep.
What would you do with that?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I would do. I would live full-time seeing the best sights of Australia. I'd be full-time. It'd change my whole life. That's a lifestyle changing prize.
220. How much gold is that physically?
It's actually probably not as much physically as you think, but
It's
holy
worth
moly.
a heck of a lot.
Holy
Gold
moly,
is
that
worth-
would change your life. You could pay your house off, rent it out, live on the road full-time. When I say change your lifestyle, that's dramatically changing it.
Righto, mate. From your shed.
From your shed, I love
From your
this.
shed.
I love this. We get to enter your shed,
Yes.
and we're going to look at the best fails, rigs, and also what the kids have been up to, mate.
Kids are
And
always up to something.
Don't forget, we've got a cool prize to give
do.
away, so
We
keep
do.
that in mind. It's a 4X merch pack. Wow.
Now, this is what they call a feces show.
When everything goes
Everything
up
goes
the
the
old
wrong.
creek and you lose your paddle, sort of thing.
Really do. You really do.
This is look what's happened here. Now you got to keep in mind that these guys, he's gone out to recover. There's been two 105s and a GU box. So he's gone out to recover them. You can tell it's wet, it's rainy, and he's done a gearbox.
Yeah, just the perfect timing.
So it got stuck for a few days, I believe.
2 days, bogged for 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they had to change the gearbox on the tracks. That
Yep.
sounds like, well, it sounds like a full drive 24/7.
I was going to say, it just sounds
It
like
really does.
history repeating.
It really
and
does.
what I love is if everyone's, everyone looks like they've had enough. This fella down here, he's actually squeaky clean, sitting on the esky, and he doesn't look stoked.
No, exactly right. When there's a transmission sitting on an esky in the
Yeah.
middle of the bush, you know your day hasn't gone to plan.
Not going to plan at all. Darcy, get in touch with us, mate, because I'd like to know who the bloke on the blue esky is. Just want to say good day to him. Moving on. Ooh.
How's this for a rig, Graham? Like, I'll let you talk about this one because you're a 79 series man yourself now.
Well, I'm not hey.
Graham, if there's one thing you are, it's a 79 series. I'm so excited I can't even talk. 79 series bloke.
This is not true. I am experimenting.
You said that before.
We've all, and I don't think there'd be anyone out there, you'd be lying if you say you haven't, looked at something before and said, I wonder what that's like.
Oh, there's some things I don't do though. It is the thought of it was
well, I've gone the whole hog and I've decided I'm going to give this a go. I've slipped into something completely different.
Let me just say, it suits you, mate. It suits you.
A lot of people have said that. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Like a lot of people have said that suits me.
What I love about it, I know I've touched on
Sorry,
this
we're going to
before.
get back to you, Jack.
We're going to get back to you, Jack, but I just love the fact you've taken so much inspiration from, I guess, your idols in the four-wheel drive world and built up a vehicle of your dreams. I'm just so proud of you, man. That's all. I just want to say that. Anyway, speaking of 79s...
I knew this was going to happen, so I have built quite a thick skin. Like, I'm okay with it so far, because I am not a Toyota person at all. I'm just trying something out.
The tattoo on his back says differently.
It's not, that's down lower and it's a butterfly.
All right, let's get back to
Jack Shady.
79 series, mate.
Now, I don't know the vernacular.
You are an expert on 79s, obviously.
Okay, well, that's a single cab.
It's a single, and it's red.
It's red.
It's actually the Merlot red. Anyway, it's a beautiful 79 series, the last of the FTE motors in that one. In fact, the motor that is in that vehicle is in the Dirty 30, the FTE, one of the greatest Toyota motors ever built. And I believe it's an RV. It's the fancy one, mate.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful vehicle, and that thing will hold its price for years to come.
Yep.
Yeah, Jack, hold on to that thing, mate. She's
Rig.
gorgeous.
Rig. Oh.
Look at this one.
So,
Now,
yeah, this has been sent in by
young Reese.
Reese.
Young Reese has put this one together, mate. A Lego masterpiece, if I don't say myself.
How do they do this?
This, you know, a lot of time and effort's gone into it, and I'm going to take a little bit of a punt and say it's the blacked out version of the Dirty 30.
It could be.
It's got the little canopy on the back. It's even got the dog in the
Got
back.
a dog in the back.
Yeah,
Got a
good
shovel down there because it gets bogged all the time. Yeah.
Mate, well done. You've done absolutely masterpiece there.
There can only be one.
What, one prize?
There can only be one.
One prize. I was nearly going to give it to you for just having such great taste in vehicles, mate.
I'm
but
not used to
unfortunately,
this.
we
I'm
can't.
not used to this.
We can't. I know. You know what?
You should be bagging me out.
I came here today with that in mind. I just wanted to take the
Can't
absolute
bag
mickey
me
out of you. And what am I going to say?
Can't.
You've got fantastic taste in vehicle.
Yeah.
It just doesn't roll off the tongue anymore.
See, there's a lot of thought has gone into this little decision of mine. I'm untouchable.
You've just shut me up. You've just
I'm untouchable.
completely grounded me.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
Righto.
a shame. Anyway, we've got to give away a 4X merch pack, and I think you and I might be on the same page here.
I think I know who it should go to.
I'm going to give it to the boys that had to do a gearbox on the tracks.
Anyone needs a beer.
And been bogged for 2 days.
Oh.
Holy heck. Darcy, you've got it, mate.
You really have. That would have been my second. I would have given it to the 79 because
that is, now been a 79
apparently being a
series.
79. Yeah. I've only driven this a very short distance. Like I haven't driven it that much. In the time I've been in Queensland with this built up, not a word of a lie. 3 times I've been acknowledged by other 79 drivers.
What, do they have a weird little...
It's not a weird wave.
I used to own one, obviously.
Did you ever get waved at?
Well, not a lot. They're using the wrong finger when they're waving at me.
That's not a wave. 3 times I've been given the hat down.
Yeah.
I've been given a thumbs up.
Well, mate, you finally... Welcome to the club. You've joined the Toyota Crusade.
There is no club.
No, it is a masterpiece, mate. What do you actually think? Just for 2 seconds, what do you think of 79 Series Life?
It drives beautifully.
Yeah?
It is superb to drive.
It's a work of art, mate. I'm not just saying that. When I had a look around the canopy and stuff like that, you've set it up to an absolute T.
We haven't gone overboard. We haven't gone J-Max underneath.
No, but I like that. I like that.
It's still fairly attainable.
Yep.
Little tweak on the old engine just to make it go a bit better. And honestly, man, it drives, dare I say it, superbly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I enjoy driving. I'm a bit of a driver.
Yep.
Being a manual, a lot of people don't like the manuals in them.
Yep.
Superb. I love it.
I've got one more question about it. Now, you've come from a Y62,
Still am.
Okay, but how do you go with the power difference in this? So obviously these make a great noise.
Very different.
But it's probably got half the amount of power as a Y62, right?
Yes, but it's very different. And I'm going to be very honest with you here. The power in this is very usable.
Torquey.
It's all down low and torquey. What I have not done with it yet is tow.
Okay.
So let's see what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I'll be
because I'm
interested
leaving on Monday.
Hear what your feedback is on that one.
So am I, because everyone has said it is going to change your opinion.
Yep.
So I'm leaving on Monday for a very ambitious plan.
Yep.
very exciting plan.
Yep.
And I'm going to be towing behind this thing, so let's see. But the power in this, it's blowing me away. They are a powerful beast.
Can I just ask one more question? And I'm going to I'll leave it there.
Sure.
Have you changed your Instagram handle to Graham_79 yet?
I have not, but I have ideas. I need to match it up with my new number plates.
Oh.
So they've been ordered. Yep.
This is not a joke.
No, they've been ordered. I didn't realise you could get 79 flog, but you can. So I've got that's on the way, and my Instagram handle will be changed to match.
Brilliant.
Well, mate, we've got to wrap this bad boy up because we've got to get down to the Brizzy 4 Drive show.
So do yourselves a favour, please.
Push the button.
Push the button, like and subscribe to the old Full Drive 24/7 channel, the greatest YouTube channel on the internet, in my opinion.
It is.
You've got a couple of sites you're a big fan of too, but I reckon this one even ranks higher. And don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, and of course, Facebook. Hooroo.
Well said, mate. Cheers to you. Cheers to everyone at home. And
Let's continue this meeting.
we will. Cheers.